Hello guys! Welcome to my YouTube channel! For today's vlog, I decided to make a video that is dedicated to the 12 basic principles of animation that is described from our legendary animator Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. But the first is squash and stretch.
Objects will get longer or flatter to emphasize their speed, momentum, weight, and mass.
Very important to keep the volume of the object consistent. That is where the other people mess up with their first try doing the squash and stretch. Let's proceed to the second basic principle of animation, and that is anticipation. Anticipation is for easy as possible the audience to understand what's going on without having to watch it twice. And helps communicate action to the audience by preparing them for the next action. Let's proceed to the third basic principle of animation, and that's what we call staging. Staging is the presentation of idea so it is completely and unmistakably clear. Acting, timing, camera angle, position, and settings are important. The audience eye must be led to exactly where it needs to be at the right moment. Proceed to the number 4, and that is straight ahead and pose to pose. It is a method that uses only the first key pose of a character and then continue drawing the character going to create its desired motion. And that's what we called pose to pose for creating key poses for characters and then in betweening them in intermediate frames to make the character appear to move from one pose to next. Move on to the fifth principle, and that's what we called follow through the overlapping action. The name was described the same but in different ways. Follow through is the object that will continue moving after the character has stopped. To the sixth principle of animation, and that is slow in and slow out. It refers how an object needs time to accelerate and slow down as it moves. An animation looks more realistic if there are more frames at the beginning and at the end of an action to depict his increase and decrease its speed. And that is an example of slow in and slow out. The principle is arcs are the most economical routes by which a form can move from one position to another. We applied the principle of arcs in order to realize a smooth and fluid movement and create a more natural looking action. Principle is what we call secondary action, the gesture that support the main action and add more dimension to the character animation. Example is a walking angrily. First action is leg and the second is everything else, that arm swing, the head moving, and facial movements. The ninth principle is what we call timing. Timing is the personality of nature of an animation that greatly affected the number of frames inserted between each main action. The more drawing, the slower the movement. The least drawing, the faster the movement. Tenth principle is what we call exaggeration. Exaggeration adds more realism into the animation, and the proportion is more consistently in reality.
Making it more realistic didn't mean make the physics and proportions more consistent with reality, but rather make the idea or essence of the action more apparent and real. So if a character was sad, make him sadder. Bright, make him brighter. Worried, make him more worried.
Exaggeration doesn't mean more disturbed, but more convincing. The seventh principle is what we call solid drawing. And before we apply the solid drawing, we need to always remember the 3 dimensions: the volume, weight, and balance, and we have to avoid symmetry.
Forms feel like they are in three-dimensional space with volume, weight, and balance. Lines is to avoid symmetry.
Last principle is what we call appeal.
Appeal. Basically, characters that you animate should be somewhat pleasing to look at. They should have some kind of charismatic aspect to like about them. This doesn't only apply to the hero of the story, but also the villain and every other character. Appeal doesn't always mean good looking. It can also mean interesting. So the villain should be likable in the sense that they are interesting to look at. That's all
for today. Thank you for watching.